Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we are back with more congressional donors. I haven't done one of these in a while, so let's jump into it. First person we're talking about today is Lloyd Doggett. He is 73-year-old. He represents the 25th District of Texas. He is a Democrat, or sorry, not the 25th, the 35th District of Texas. He is a Democrat, and he is serving his 13th term in the U.S. House of Representatives. He graduated with a BA from the University of Texas in Austin, Texas, graduated with a JD from the University of Texas Law School, was a member of the Texas State Senate, was a justice of the Texas Supreme Court, was an adjunct professor at the University of Texas School of Law in Austin, Texas, had an unsuccessful candidacy to the U.S. Senate before finally being elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. He is on the House committees for the Budget and the Committee for Ways and Means. Now, his top 5 individual donors. Number 1, Aiken Gump et al. Aiken Gump Strauss Hauer and Feld LLP is an American international law firm and the most profitable lobbying firm in the U.S., and they're headquartered in Washington, D.C. They donated $11,100. 2, USAA, a Fortune 500 diversified financial services group of companies, including a Texas Department of Insurance, regulated reciprocal inter-insurance exchange, and subsidiaries offering banking, investing, and insurance to people and families who serve or served in the U.S. Armed Forces. They're headquartered in San Antonio, Texas. They donated a total of $10,000. Number 3, Unite Here, a labor union in the U.S. and Canada with roughly 300,000 active members in the hotel, food services, laundry, warehouse, and casino gaming industry, and they're based in New York City, New York. They donated $10,000. Number 4, the National Association of Realtors, a North American trade association for those who work in the real estate industry. They donated $10,000. And number 5, the Machinists Aerospace Workers Union. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers is an AFL-CIO CLC trade union representing approximately 646,933 workers, mostly in the U.S. and Canada, and they donated $10,000. Now, his top 5 industry donors. Number 1, health professionals, who altogether donated $105,800. Number 2, lawyers and law firms, who altogether donated $86,572. Number 3, Democratic liberal groups, who altogether donated $47,359. Number 4, retired, who altogether donated $46,895. And last, real estate, who altogether donated $37,950. And once again, That was Lloyd Doggett of Texas. Next person we're going to talk about is Mike Doyle. He's 67-year-old and he represents the 18th District of Pennsylvania. He is a Democrat and he is serving his 13th term in the U.S. House. He graduated with a BS from Pennsylvania State University in University, Pennsylvania, was a member of the Swissvale, Pennsylvania Borough Council, was a member of staff of the Pennsylvania State Senator Frank Pecora before finally being elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. His only House committee is the Committee for Energy and Commerce. Now, his top 5 individual donors. Number 1, America's Communications Association, formerly known as the American Cable Association. It changed its name to meet the transforming media, and they donated $15,000. Number 2, Rock Holdings, a mortgage lender that operates through its subsidiaries and is headquartered in Detroit, Michigan. They donated $13,800. Number 3, Comcast Corp., a telecommunications company based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They donated $12,800. Number 4, the National Association of Broadcasters, a trade association and lobbying group representing the interests of commercial and non-commercial over-the-air radio and television broadcasters in the U.S., and they're headquartered in Washington, D.C. They donated $12,250. And number 5, Select Medical Holdings, a healthcare company that owns long-term acute care and inpatient rehabilitation hospitals as well as occupational health and physical therapy clinics, and they're headquartered in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. They donated $12,000. Now, his top 5 industry donors. Number 1, telecom services, who altogether donated $66,400. Number 2, lawyers and law firms, who altogether donated $53,600. Number 3, industrial unions, who altogether donated $46,500. Number 4, electrical utilities, who altogether donated $45,500. And number 5, building trade unions, who altogether donated $35,000. And once again, that was Mike Doyle of Pennsylvania. Next person we're going to talk about is Tammy Duckworth. She is 52-year-old and is a senator from the state of Illinois. She is a Democrat and she is serving her first term in the U.S. Senate. Now, she graduated with a BA from the University of Hawaii in Manoa, Hawaii, graduated with a MA from George Washington University in Washington, D.C., attended North Illinois University in DeKalb, Illinois, was a helicopter pilot in the U.S. Army Reserve, was a member of the Illinois Army National Guard, received a Purple Heart, had an unsuccessful candidacy for the U.S. House of Representatives, was the director of the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs, was the Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, was a delegate to the DNC before finally being elected to the U.S. House of Representatives for 2 terms, and then elected to the U.S. Senate. Her Senate committees are the Committee on Armed Forces, the Committee on Environment and Public Works, the Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation, the Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship, and the Senate Democrats Special Committee on Climate Change. Now, her top 5 industry donors. Number 1, Select Medical Holdings. They are a healthcare company that owns long-term acute care and inpatient rehabilitation hospitals, as well as occupational health and physical therapy clinics. They are headquartered in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. They donated $10,653. Number 2, Honeywell International, a publicly traded conglomerate headquartered in Charlotte, North Carolina, that produces commercial and consumer products, engineering services, and aerospace systems. And they donated $10,020. Number 3, the Bricklayers Union, also known as the International Union of Bricklayers and Allied Craft Workers. It is a labor union in the U.S. and Canada representing bricklayers, restoration specialists, pointers, cleaners, caulkers, stonemasons, marble masons, cement masons, plasterers, tile setters, terrazone mechanics, and tile marble terrazone finishers. They donated $10,000. Number 4, the American Orthotic and Prosthetic Association, a national trade association that provides business services and products to orthotic and prosthetic professionals, and they're headquartered in Alexandria, Virginia. They donated $10,000. And number 5, the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, an American nonprofit political organization that advocates for general aviation based in Frederick, Maryland, and they donated $7,000. Now, her top 5 industry donors. Number 1 is Retired, who altogether donated $2,119,973. Number 2 is Lawyers and Law Firms, who altogether donated $1,375,487. Number 3 is Women's Issues, who altogether donated $1,100,684. Number 4 is Education, who altogether donated $551,350. And number 5 is Securities and Investment, who altogether donated $551,349. And once again, that was Tammy Duckworth of Illinois. Next person we're going to talk about is Jeff Duncan. He's 54-year-old and represents the 3rd District of South Carolina. He is a Republican, and he is serving his 5th term in the U.S. House of Representatives. He graduated with a BA from Clemson University in Clemson, South Carolina, was a banker, a real estate agent, broker, and a member of the South Carolina House of Representatives before finally being elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. The only House committee he is on is the Committee for Energy and Commerce. His top 5 individual donors: number 1, Clear Path Foundation, a non-profit organization focused on conservative clean energy, and they're based in Charlotte, North Carolina. They donated $11,200. Number 2, Charter Communications, an American telecommunications and mass media company that offers services under the name Spectrum. They're headquartered in Stamford, Connecticut. They donated $10,000. Number 3 is Alphabet Inc. They are an American multinational conglomerate that owns Google and is headquartered in Mountain View, California. They donated $10,000. Number 4 is AT&T, an American multinational conglomerate holding company. It is the world's largest telecommunications company, and it is based in Dallas, Texas. And they donated $10,000. And number 5 is Dominion Energy, formerly Dominion Resources, an American power and energy company headquartered in Richmond, Virginia. And they donated $10,000. Now his top 5 industry donors. Number 1 is Republican and conservative groups, who altogether donated $51,668. Number 2 is oil and gas, who altogether donated $50,100. Number 3 is retired, who altogether donated $39,516. Number 4 is electric utilities, who altogether donated $37,850. And number 5 is telecom services, who altogether donated $32,000. And once again, that was Jeff Duncan of South Carolina. The last person we're going to talk about today is Neal Dunn. He is 67-year-old and represents the 2nd District of Florida. He is a Republican, and he is serving his 2nd term in the U.S. House of Representatives. He graduated with a B.S. from Washington and Lee University in Lexington, Virginia, graduated with a M.D. from George Washington University in Washington, D.C., was a member of the U.S. Army, a urologist, a banker, before finally being elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. His House committees are the Committee on Agriculture, the Committee on Science, Space, and Technology, and the Committee on Veterans Affairs. Now, his top 5 individual donors. Number 1, Brain and Spine Center. And I really couldn't find which one in specificity that it was, because there were multiple brain and spine centers when I was looking it up. They donated $16,800. Number 2, Kedrick Sari Incorporated, a foreign for-profit corporation based in Panama City, Florida, and they donated $16,800. Number 3, the Martin Organization, a company that handles the business and financial ventures of Rod D. Martin and his family, and they donated $11,200. Number 4 is the Majority Committee PAC, A political action committee with little other info found. They donated $10,000. And number 5, the American Bankers Association. They are a trade association for U.S. banking industry based in Washington, D.C., and they donated $10,000. Now, his top 5 industry donors. Number 1 is health professionals, who altogether donated $81,567. Number 2 is crop production and basic processing, who altogether donated $27,009. Number 3 is leadership PACs, who altogether donated $19,500. Number 4 is forestry and forest products, who altogether donated $15,100. And number 5 is securities and investment, who altogether donated $12,201. And once again, that was Neal Dunn of Florida. But that will be it. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tries to tell you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. Speaking of sources, I will have sources in the description. But I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, later.